Whitechapel in East London has become a cultural hotspot in recent years. In this studio, Rawal Alam, a graduate of Central St Martin's School of Art, draws upon his Islamic heritage to create designs for the 21st century. He has adapted traditional calligraphy in partnership with another East London project, the Islam Design House.
Very modern, very contemporary. We are Eastern in terms of our faith, in terms of our value system, our belief system. At the same time, we've grown up in the West with our, be it the language, be it in terms of the fashion, in terms of sports, in terms of culture. So we share something which is very distinct, which is we share our Eastern tradition and our Western Britishness.
Islam Expo at London's Olympia attracted more than 20,000 visitors over 4 days in July. Held for the second year, the exhibition concentrated on explaining Islam to young Britons, whether they were Muslims or not. The cultures of modern Britain include a wide range of Asian roots. The courtyard of the British Library was the setting for a display of Bollywood dancing. Bollywood films have long been part of Indian culture. Naturally enough, they have a big fan base in British Asian culture, and now it is spreading to a wider community.
Across the UK, it really has been taken off. There are many dance schools around in London and across the UK. It's taken off. It's not just Asians that are going. Many non-Asians do. I mean, I've got one of my dancers is actually a Russian girl that's based here in London. So it allows anybody to take part.
Under the heading Gardens and Cosmos, the British Museum also announced a selection of royal paintings from Jodhpur in Rajasthan. To be shown for the first time in Europe next summer, these works from the 18th and early 19th centuries interpreted the origins of the universe for their royal benefactors. They are also a reminder of the historical links between Indian and British culture.
We're hoping that the public programme will complement and augment the exhibition and landscape. The exhibition, of course, is about late 18th century and early 19th century painting from Rajasthan. And we want to use the public programme to talk about the vibrancy of modern India and the issues and topics that concern us in Britain today.
In its Olympic year, China was rarely out of the headlines. Beyond the sports pages, the country's rising economic prowess, alongside that of India, has transformed its international profile. Modern China was on show at London's Victoria and Albert Museum, in particular contemporary design in 3 cities, Beijing, Shanghai and Shenzhen. The capital's architectural landscape had changed out of recognition to host the Olympic Games.
For most visitors coming to the show, this is the first time that almost all of this work will have been seen in the UK, if not outside China. So I think it's a fantastic starting point to find out more about what's going on in China now.
The University of London offered a rare insight into contemporary art from Saudi Arabia in October. Edge of Arabia, shown at the School of Oriental and African Studies, presented a challenging selection. The first Saudi to complete a master's degree at Central St Martin's in London, Lalwa Al-Humad, explored the links between art and mathematics. Deconstructing basic calligraphy led to this representation of the 99 names of God.
I was more interested in this hidden order because I think there is another language that God communicates to human beings through the mathematical pattern in the creation itself. If you think of, for example, the human cell, how it develops, there's a mathematical pattern where it multiplies.
The artistic flow has certainly not been one way. Tate Britain staged The Lure of the East, reflecting how British artists in the early 19th century became fascinated by all things Middle Eastern. This was part of a romantic movement for national independence, supported by literary figures such as Lord Byron. Jerusalem was under the control of the Ottoman Empire, then as now a holy city for Christians, Jews and Muslims. As travel became easier, artists from Britain found a ready market at home for any presentation of the Orient.
Getting to Cairo, Jerusalem, Istanbul was no longer the huge logistic headache it had been, so they could whiz out there on a steamship, whiz back again with their pictorial sketches, and pretty quickly they could be satisfying that desire on the part of the public for visual information about this part of the world.
Halima Kassal draws upon 3 continents for her sculpture: Asian, where she was born in Pakistan, African patterns in her geometrical designs, and her present life in Blackburn, northwest England.
When it comes to designing my work, that all comes within, and I think it's information that I've visually gathered over the years, and it's kind of stored and it comes out naturally in its own sense. I have lots and lots of design books where I find myself just drawing numerous designs and thoughts that I have, and just quickly jotting them down like shorthand.
The inspiration of 3 continents flows through the work of this young British artist.